Bonjour. See, I can throw out another
Get out. He must have
introduction there.
used that one before, wasn't he?
No, not use bonjour.
No.
Marking it down on the chart.
Welcome to the I'll Try That podcast. As usual, I am joined by Mr. Matthew Barber,
Hi there.
Mr. Joseph Druitt.
Ahoy, hoy.
You going for the nautical theme, Joe, with ahoy hoy?
In that one, I went for the Mr. Burns.
I want to have another go. I could have done tally ho or something like that.
No, I like that. So yeah, this week on the I'll Try That podcast, I'm going to butcher the name, even though we have reviewed them before, which was pointed out to me just before we started recording. So, Huyghe, for God's sake, Huyghe?
Luigi?
No.
Huyghe.
Huyghe. I was wrong pronunciation. Huyghe. They brought us beers. We did Delirium from them, which was, that was quite, how strong was that one again? That was...
Oh, that set me delirious. Yep.
Yeah. So, it's like a 7-8% that
It was 3 sheets
from
to
what
the
I can
wind
remember.
type beer, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this one is their new Belgian Cherry Wheat Beer that is brewed specifically for Marks and Spencer's, and it's a blend of Belgian wheat beer and juice pressed from Griotti cherries. Do you know anything about cherries?
We'll get into that.
I know Machino cherries are good with old fashions. Moschino cherries.
I thought Machino was a type of luxury shoe.
Yeah,
luxury shoe.
Is that just a glass? Isn't that just a glass cherry? It goes on like a Bakewell.
Glacé cherry.
Glacé cherry.
Is that
there
like
we go,
glacé drugs? Oh, glass. GLAC. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is great stuff, guys. We've got to keep this for later.
This is great stuff. But first, I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Matthew Barber for the hot topic.
Hi, guys. I'll ask you a question and you can decide whether it's rhetorical or not. How do we think beer is doing in the US right now?
Are they having a moment of people want other things in the US, perhaps? Because I left the US when hard seltzers were really taking off, and I was like, this stuff's amazing. It's going to really eat into alcohol sales in the US. It's going to really take us.
Could be. Trammers, any further thoughts or bids?
Swinging more into drugs?
Interesting. Well, interesting. We've
interesting hypothesis.
Couple of different ideas.
Cannabis is becoming more readily available and more legalized in more places. Edibles, and people are becoming more accepting of CBD and THC and stuff like that. So I believe my answer was quite credible. So suck it.
I hope that those two fingers you're holding up are exclusively to Joe rather than me, because I didn't comment. I'm actually referring to, we've been looking at, there's an article in The Independent at the moment about beer, and seemingly you're not both going to believe this, but you are both sort of right. Yeah, American beer drinking falls to the lowest level in 24 years. So when they say party like it's 1999, that means not that hard, apparently, it seems. Yeah. Actually, you kind of both hit on some of the things that have come across, basically. There's been some research by Beer Marketers Insights, aka BMI, and it's been tracking the average beer sales across the UK. Things have fallen by 5% in the first 9 months of 2023. And so, yeah, it's not looking great at the moment, and there's only Joe will really understand this because he's actually lived in America. But one brewing industry bigwig called it a 5-alarm fire for the beer trade. I don't know what that means. 5-alarm fire. I have heard that before in Americanisms, but I don't know where it comes from.
A 5-alarm fire.
Yeah, I think that means.
Yes, so there's a classification of fire alarms in the United States and in Canada. So 5 is the worst. It's like we've gone to DEFCON 1 or DEFCON 0. What's the worst level? The most prepared level that you can be at.
So like,
DEFCON 1, I'm pretty sure there's a film.
Backdraft.
Yeah, okay. Backdraft.
That is anytime fire film, they're talking about Backdraft.
He's talking about DEFCON.
Yeah, DEFCON.
No, I've never seen.
Completely different film.
Never seen DEFCON.
DEFCON 1.
Anyway, as
you haven't lived.
As David Steinman from BMI said, it has been a tough year for beer. Anheuser-Busch, particularly badly affected. Do you remember from a previous hot topic why that might have been?
Oh, the Bud Light.
Bud Light shot themselves.
The marketers making
and was it they shot themselves in the foot, then started digging a hole and decided to stop digging, but got a bigger spade, basically. And
you know what? They stopped digging around a water main pipe, and then they got a pickaxe, and then they smashed that into the water main pipe.
I remember someone saying that, if we were teaching marketing 101, we would say, this is what you don't do with regard to that. It was the transgender influencer, I think, wasn't it?
It's going to be, that's it. It's going to become like down in the annals of textbooks, like business, like law, basically. You know, like we'll be if we were studying again, Barbara, our degrees,
it would be.
This would be part of the degree syllabus.
So forward popularity of American premium brands like Coors Light, as we mentioned. The hard seltzer boom has been attributed for the 2000 and the 9 months to 2023 all going down. Americans drinking less booze overall, despite the fact that actually population has increased. The increasing
the rise of Modelo as well.
I guess that's taken away from that particular, particularly from Coors and the Anheuser-Busch law. However, it has been mentioned other types of alcoholic drinks, such as canned cocktails being more popular, and cannabis is now legal in more American states.
How many states is it legal in? Do you know? Is it over half now?
I don't know.
Or is it?
No.
I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought it'd be that many, but more than it was.
They also have varying degrees of like what legal is, depending on the state as well. So like there are some like Colorado where it's fully legal, whatever, and then there are some where it's like legal to a lesser extent, but you have to have a black card for it.
Yeah,
somewhere it's like not legal.
And the other contributing factor that I'm going to point to that's been mentioned in the article is actually the number of college students, and this is viewed as being a representative of young people who abstained from alcohol altogether, increased between 2002 and 2018 from 20% to 28%. Which seems like a lot to me, but
big number. That's a large number of. Because I was thinking, I look back to like university days, and it was weird if one person didn't drink, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose that's
now it's a relatively common thing.
Well, I suppose there's a difference between US and UK culture there, isn't it? I just think our UK culture and attitude to alcohol sometimes needs some looking at.
UK culture is also as well. It's a whole generation of people that aren't going to be drinking, and I think that's perfectly applaudable. I think that's absolutely fine. You know, as in a lot of colleagues in the previous job, they were teetotal. It's like they'd never consumed alcohol. And I was like, yeah, fair play. You know, it's a different world where you don't have to do that, you know, and it's not an expectation that you can do that as well, which is great.
But there you go. Bad year for beer, but let's be honest, if they're a little blip, there's still quite a lot of it about. So maybe we'll survive.
As I think we've said before, even if there are, you know, we've said for decades now, beer has been declining as the, you know, on the curve of like how many global consumers there are. But it's not going away. Not like it's anymore. It just means there are other options out there right now other than beer, which has been, let's face, monopolizing for a lot of people.
I mean, if we are really struggling for beer, Drabs is going to brew us some, so it's cool.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll always have beer. Or us three would always have beer. Poor beer, but beer.
Just next batch, just take chili out. That's all right.
If anything, I'm going to add more.
The old reverse. Yeah, you've done the old reverse. And put loads of chili, mate. Yeah, that'd be great. But anyway, that's that done. Let's talk
Huyghe.
That's easy for you to say.
For the third time.
Yeah, my fault on that one. I just got excited.
I laughed a lot when I found this out that you had brought us another Huyghe beer along.
Well, I just saw Belgian Cherry Wheat Beer, and I was like, that sounds a bit different, a bit out there. And I was like, and then didn't really think anything else into it when I brought it. Chucked it into the basket, and away I went.
And should we let everyone peek behind the curtain a little bit and go, hang on, because just before we started talking about this episode, before we started recording, we went, we've done this before. This is bloody Fruity. We go, no, that was the other strawberry berry one, wasn't it? No, that was Bacchus. That was the berry one. We've done it. Well, this is.
We don't think we've done this.
We haven't done
specific one,
but yeah, the fact that it was cherry, Bacchus do a cherry, as we
they do a cherry.
Yeah, they do.
Have had the Bacchus cherry,
but this is
it was a cherry sour, wasn't it?
I thought it was just cherry.
No, it's just cherry beer.
I thought Bacchus was a cherry sour.
No, it's not sour. It might be a sour in the Belgian sour sense. You might be right. It might be interesting, but it's like a wheat beer with a cherry fruit. That like the Belgians have an amazing array of introducing fruit into beer and making it taste delicious. That's all I can say. Like amazing Belgian beers. We've talked about Dunkels, we've talked about triples, and we've talked about the monastic beers that are just well known in Belgium and have made their name. But my God, and we've named already Delirium. That's a really fascinating beer by Huyghe, and we've talked about Fruity before, another fruit beer as well. And so if anyone's to kind of make a delicious wheat beer with a cherry in, these guys have got the credentials to be able to make it, haven't they?
Indeed. Actually, I'm warming to this at first. Again, I think it's a little bit of issue of jumping back and forth between different beers. But I was saying, by it being a wheat beer, a cherry wheat beer, I get to not enjoy it and also become Mr. Farty Pants in the process. So that's good. Interestingly, though, I was trying to have I just did an old school Google of cherry wheat beer, thinking I might find a little bit more information actually on this one that M&S are stocking, and actually Samuel Adams pop up because they do a cherry wheat beer. I was going to say I didn't think it would be lots of players in this particular game, but there's at least two, so we know that much.
That's it. If you don't like the one, you might not like the other. So
well, I can tell you that the Huyghe Brewery also do another cherry beer under their Floris beer range. So there is a Belgian white fruit beer that is cherry flavored. Delirium also has I've never seen it, but you can get a cherry version or cherry fruited version of their beer. So that also exists. So they are well versed in fruit and cherry.
I think
specific beers.
I think my issue is it's, as I think I've said with every other fruit based beer we've tried, it's not a beer.
I think particularly we said that about Fruity, didn't we?
Yeah, it's just there's no other characteristics to beer other than it has it in the name.
So were you saying I'm going to read? I normally would just make you elaborate on this a bit more, but I'm going to read between the lines. When you drink this, can you taste any hops?
No.
Can you taste any malt?
No,
this is leading you a little bit, but it's the
But is fruit not just a very overpowering flavor and aroma, and it overpowers everything. It's like putting onion in stuff. You're gonna know onion.
I thought you were just saying that.
No, not onion, garlic. I was gonna say garlic.
I was gonna say.
I thought you were just saying that
onions can just get in the back.
Yeah, I thought the idea was you were saying that we're actually we have very unsophisticated palates, and it is in there that we just can't see it.
I'm agreeing with you that I agree with you that any fruit flavor just overpowers everything.
Yeah,
although it'd be like if you did a red onion beer.
But I think my issue is when I drink a beer, is I at least want a little bit of hoppiness coming through. I want a little bit of that beer taste that you associate with beer, in essence.
Yeah, but we're talking wheat beer, right? So this is not taste at all level like a wheat beer, because I'd say this is creamy. I'd say a wheat beer is creamy. Although it's fruity, it's definitely creamy. It goes down smooth.
If you gave me this...
It has the same...
If you told me this was Schlur, the adults soft drink, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I get that. There's just nothing... It just...
Because it tastes like fruit. You're right. That's what you're hammering on, but the base palate of it isn't Schlur. It's not overly carbonated like a Schlur would be in comparison to this beer, but it's got fruit in it. I'm not disputing it.
Yeah.
That would be very difficult.
At least, I guess all I'm saying is that this has it does have a different departure from Schlur, although they've both got fruit in. This is clearly not Schlur because it's got some level of kind of creaminess to it, which you only will get with something like
33.5%.
Yeah,
as well.
And
33.5%. This.
Ooh.
And it's just more. It'd be more of a cocktail if you're gonna a cherry. I don't know. It's not a beer, and I'm gonna die on that hill.
I'm gonna buy you some Kirsch because that's this, but it's not beer. It's just like a spirit, isn't it? Cherry.
Oh,
What's the word? A cherry spirit, basically. I think it technically is a brandy. So you might like that, and you won't be as offended as it having beer in its name.
and that sounds great. Like I like a cherry liqueur.
There you go.
Kirsch is the one for you. Like a cherry vodka. Yeah.
Kirsch liqueur. That you're right.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not. This isn't me being appalled by the taste or anything like that. I think it tastes very nice, and I think it's a drinkable drink.
You just don't like that it says beer.
I just don't like that it says that it's trying to call itself a beer.
I find it difficult to argue with you on this. I hate to go back to I think it was Peter Kay who had it in his stand-up, but I'm now curious as to how you feel when you eat cheesecake. Because you're like, hang on, this doesn't. It's neither really, is it, actually? I mean, cheesecake isn't even really that cakey in many ways.
No,
it's not.
And I love a cheesecake. I think. No, but I wouldn't want like a blue Stilton cheesecake, would you?
No, that's true. Good. Where does this leave us?
I'm not too sure, in all honesty. I think just my minor annoyance.
As Drab said, I mean, that's going to be I've decided I'm having a last word on this, but we can talk about it afterwards. If you know what this is, it's fine. I'm probably not going to drink it other than for the purposes of this podcast. You'd have to.
I'm certainly not going out of my way to try and find out the cherry beer, but I do quite like a Bacchus. I'm just saying that. I think this compared to a Bacchus, I like.
I think these are the ones you got to reach for when you are really done with a particular. But if you want to move on from a session beer that you've had a lot of, and you want to go a little bit,
don't know if people. Yeah, I just don't know if people are buying these regularly.
Yeah, I was about to say it's what I'll get a few Belgian cherries in because Tim's coming round and he loves a Belgian cherry. You've got to have it's a very specific friend I have in mind.
It's interesting. It's got to be like he likes Belgian beers, but also fruited Belgian beers. Because I've got a friend who loves Belgian beers. And I wouldn't pick this for fruit. Yeah, but it says Belgian on the label. I'd be like, he's gonna love it.
The thing is also, do you think if you went to someone's house as a party, they offered you a drink, do you think you'd be able to go, do you happen to have any cherry wheat beers? They'd be like, no, I haven't. You can have. I've got some lager. I've got some IPAs. I've got. Could you spirit mixer? Give me a glass of wine. Have a rum and ginger beer. No, I haven't got any cherry wheat beers. Why would I have that?
But maybe if you go to a Belgian house party, they would like. Of course, we've got.
Well, as you well know, Joe, I haven't been invited to one of those since the incident.
But this is my point because, like, you look at Huyghe's portfolio of beers. They've got a wide-ranging amount of like actual like beer sub-brands, whatever you want, or brand like Delirium. Each one of them, more often than not, has got a fruit-flavored version of that beer. So clearly. There's a huge market for it.
If you go to Huyghe's house, he's got all sorts. What fruit would you like in your beer? How about pineapple? I've got you in. Can I interest you in an interesting kumquat lager by any chance?
giving you a new brewery Huyghe update. They have a brand new beer. I'll give this. It could have been a hot topic at some point, but given we're talking about them, it's funny. It's called Paranoia. So really putting themselves out there on this, like and it's a hazy hoppy beer that's got a hippo on it called a hazy hoppy hippo beer. It's only 5.6%, so it's not too crazily hopped / ABV'd, but it's called Paranoia.
Flavoured with ham and pineapple or something like that.
Yeah. We want you to really struggle to drink our drinks.
Paranoia also feels like it's maybe they're playing on this a little bit, like it's almost like the partner beer for a delirium tremens. You know, it's like the DTs. It's if you haven't got the DTs, you might have paranoia or something like that. Hey, I could do this for a living. We can't do the numbers on this one because what is it, M&S or is it Huyghe?
We've done it.
I'm fairly sure Rich has now stopped following them on Instagram.
Just throwing it out.
Yeah.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo.
Goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter.
I'll try that podcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.